So hey you guys, this is my YouTube channel, YouTube video for tonight. I think today is 28. So today I watched the Super Bowl and the Chiefs. I was on Team Chiefs. I'm from Kansas City, and it's not just basically because I'm from Kansas City. My family, I grew up in a household that, loved the Chiefs. So it kind of, fell on me. Do I watch football like that? No. But if the Chiefs are playing, I'm going to watch. Like if the Super Bowl was between any two other teams, I don't know if I would have watched it or been as invested. But they really did not do a good job tonight. I'm just like, dang. It's just like maybe all their flaws just, was always there throughout the before the Super Bowl, and they just shined through when the Super Bowl came, and it showed that the team was weaker than we thought it was. The foundation was weaker than we thought it was. It held steady against the easy stuff. It's like if you got a football player who has a weak knee, like he's injured his knee, right? And he doesn't really when his knee is injured, but he got 15 games to play. In the 14 games he played before he gets to the 15th, he doesn't get hit, and nobody hits that knee because they don't know about his weakness, but he knows about his weakness, and he's learned how to play with the weak knee. But then he gets to 15 and they realize that his knee is weak, and then they start tackling his knee, and then his weakness is shown, but it's been there the whole time. So it was hidden to them, but not to him. So I think that's the thing about the Chiefs. Like, they had weaknesses, they had flaws, but we didn't see it we didn't really see them until they got to the Super Bowl. So yeah. The thing that I'm struggling with right now is I have a friend, and she's probably going to see this video later and be like, girl, why didn't you just talk about it with me? But I did talk about it. Okay, so last semester during my depression, and even before last semester, we became friends because we're both on the same scholarship. She's going to know who I'm talking about. And, we're both on the same scholarship, and, she introduced herself to me. And I gave her my number, and then I kind of just went about with my life. Like, and then the same week, she called me up and she was like, hey, are you busy today? And I said, no, I'm not busy. I was at the gym working out. And she said, you want to go out to eat later? And I said, I don't have no money. I told her straight up, I don't have no money. She said she'd pay for me. I said, okay, cool, I'll go. Need I remind you, that I don't really like people doing stuff for me, especially people that you don't know, because you don't know who they are as a person. But I took a chance because I was just like, Izzy, come on. Because in the past, people would call me prideful because I like to do things on my own, or I like to figure it out myself. So I'm a completely different person from, I ask for help more than I used to. And especially since in this predicament I am in. And sometimes I'd be quiet about certain things and not ask, but back to the point. So she offered, so we went out to eat. We went to Texas Roadhouse. That was my first time there, and I was pretty happy because I was like, ooh, finally I got a friend. It was not because she took me out to eat. It wasn't about that for me. It was the fact that I had somebody who asked to hang out. Even if she would have just been like, hey, let's go for a walk, or hey, let's go for a walk, or hey, we can go to the store and get some bag of chips. And at that time, if I would have asked other people for help, I probably would have got a little money to buy a bag of chips, at least. Maybe not pay for a meal, but buy a bag of chips, and we could have walked around, or we could have just talked, or done something cheaper than going out to eat. Or if it wasn't in that time and we could have hung out a different time, then we could have done something different. I'm just saying, I'm just appreciative of the fact that somebody asked me to hang out. And we were doing something besides just sitting in an apartment and talking. Like, and you're like, oh, well, that's hanging out too. I'm just like, only reason why I'm saying no to that is because I've done that so much with another friend that I've had, but it wasn't an apartment, it was her house. And I was always bored. Because I'm sorry, but I can sit in my apartment and or house or whatever and not do anything. And that's what I do. Especially when I was depressed. When I'm depressed, I literally sit in my house. I read books on Wattpad, and I'm not saying it's not fun, but I get bored of doing the same thing. I want to go out and I want to do stuff. And you be like, well, you just said, I was happy that somebody asked me to hang out. Yes. I was happy that we did go out to eat. But under different circumstances, we could have still done that and I would have had the money. If we did it later and I had a more of an advancement on it. But like I said again, we could have just went for a walk or we could have done something different. And I would just been appreciative of hanging out. Besides just sitting in an apartment and doing that. But back to the point, we hung out, she bought me food, and she bought me something from Sonic. I was happy. I said, finally, I got a friend. After that, I asked her, "Ooh, I got a friend. Maybe she could take me to Walmart." She took me to Walmart. When we got on the phone, that conversation, she was like, "I was going to ask you to go to Walmart with me." And I'm thinking, okay, she's okay with this. And then this is the time where we can go to Walmart and we can hang out. So that's something we can do. And no, she didn't buy no food for me. I bought my food. I was working a little job at the time. So yeah, I was working something. If given chance, that's why I said we could have done something later. Maybe not go out to eat, but we could have just went to the gas station, bought a bag of chips, bought some ice cream, buy a slushie, and we could have walked around. I would have been okay with that. It's better than just sitting in the house and just talking. It's because you're moving and you're out and about and not just in an apartment, just secluded from the world. But then after that, she did go to, when I got baptized, she did go to my baptism. I appreciate that. And then I was gonna get some piercings and she was gonna take me. Oh, we went to the movies. This is me, but I initiated going to the movies. I asked her to go to my baptism, which I don't think counts. And then when that day that I was getting my piercings, I was going to figure out a way to get to my piercings, but she offered to say, "Hey, I'll take you." So I said, okay, cool. And before I could do any of that, I had a psychotic break. And then that happened. That happened last summer. I had a psychotic break and I was in the hospital for like over a month and I blacked out the first 2 weeks. And when I got my phone in there, or when I saw my phone and I had finally got it, she had texted me, but I was too embarrassed to say, "Hey girl," this is when I was in the hospital, to text her and then I couldn't text her because they would have took my phone away because they was giving me my phone to get numbers out of my phone. If I went in there and I started texting people, then, I would have gotten in trouble. And you're like, well, why didn't you get her number and call her? I didn't call her because I was embarrassed. I'm like, you don't get it that when you have psychotic breaks, people don't understand. They don't understand it, and they refuse to. They don't get it because it didn't happen to them. So it's like I'm a broken record. But back to the point, I had a psychotic break, and then after I got out the hospital, I called her, and then she was like, "Who is this?" And I said, "This is Issy." And I was just like, and I told her I had another psychotic break. And, we talked a little bit and, that was that. So when we got back to school, of course, before I knew about the bus, which I'm appreciative of, I was asking for rides. I asked for a ride. And then one day I asked for a ride and I thought we were going to go to her house and we were going to hang out. And she was like, "Well, I have to clean up my house." And I was like, okay. And I left it at that. Then I was in deep depression. So it was 2 other times that I asked her to hang out and, I flaked. I asked her and I just said, no, I couldn't do it. And it's not because I didn't want to hang out with her. It was just, I was depressed. As you can see the way that I look. If you go back to my first video and you look now, I've done a complete 360. Am I getting my life back on track now? Yes, I am. But back last semester and like for the past 2 years, I just have been in a downward spiral of depression. I'm trying to combat that. And I'm working on not letting my emotions guide me in life. Don't let my emotions guide me or how I feel in the moment guide me, because the moment can affect the later outcome. You know, every day you have a chance to relive life. Don't waste it away in your room and you're deep in thought, deep in depression, because you don't know if that's going to be your last day. Do you want your last day to be on earth to be you depressed, or you want to be having fun, doing what you love, or in living that life, living that day, I mean, to the fullest? So that's what I'm learning now. But I was thinking about that back then. All I was doing was eating, and I was barely going to work. I wasn't going to classes. I was doing if you look at my other videos, you can see I was doing things that I was not supposed to be doing. I was doing things that I was not supposed to be doing. I was but back to her. So then this is from one of my psychotic breaks. I had a court case. It was somebody charged me for battery. One of the nurses at the hospital charged me for battery because when I was during my psychotic break, I hit her and she charged me for battery. So, I called her and I told her, I said, I don't have no money. I don't have no money. He's like, Izzy, why you always broke? And I could have asked, the person, hold on a second. Okay, that's, but, I would have asked somebody else, but I asked her because the other person that I would have asked, who would have had no problem with it, was out of town. And I asked her, and and I told her I didn't have any money. She's like, well, you could have at least offered. And in my head, I was thinking, why would I offer something that I don't have? That's why I told you from Jump Street, I don't have it. If you would have said no, I would have still been your friend. I'm not just, and she thinks I'm using her. I'm like, I'm not using you. It's just right now, I was in depression. I was just thinking about how I felt and how I was being selfish. I would say that, but I wasn't trying to not be your friend. And I did call you during the summer after my psychotic break, and you asked, who is this? And I was trying to talk to you. And then need I remind you, no time has she ever tried to call me and reach out to me to ask me to hang out. Or when I was doing those things, she never asked me like, hey, Izzy, what's going on? And I do have a friend like that, because if I don't text for 2 weeks, they'd be like, hey, Izzy, what's going on? And it's because I'm in deep depression or I'm going through something. And I wish I had a friend who's there and like, well, she was doing stuff for you. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what type of friend I want. I don't know if I want a friend who do stuff or a person who's there. There's a difference between doing stuff. It's like your daddy who always buying you presents, but he's never there. He's never there for I don't know. But after she took me to Joplin, and I went to the thing, and she came back and she said, well, it just feels like you're using me. You don't really want to hang out with me. You don't want to be my friend, and And I'm just in my head, I'm thinking, you never reach out to me after you took me out to eat that first time. It was always me. And then I said, I had a psychotic break during the summer. And she said, well, I thought you didn't want to be bothering me. That's why you didn't reply to the message. I'm like, bro, why? If I didn't want to be bothered with you, I wouldn't have called you during the summer. Then she was like, well, nobody talks during the summertime. I'm like, I don't want a friend who, just because school is out, they don't talk during the summertime. See, that's the thing. Like, and I'm like, I really don't want to be in an apartment talking. I want to be out. We could do stuff. We could just go out. We could walk. And we did walk, but even with walking, I initiated that. We went for a walk on the trail, and I initiated that. And he'd be like, well, I'm driving to it. Then if you don't want to drive, then we can walk around the neighborhood. We live literally across the street from each other. I be wanting to tell these things like, you don't have to buy me food. We don't need to do that. But and I'm always broke anyways. And especially during that season of my life, it wasn't always like that. Like I said, people used to think I was prideful because I wouldn't ask for help, or because I would find out ways to do things on my own. And I was like that. Or people used to think I was full of myself. When I wanted to get something done, I'd get it done. And I'd always question, okay, so what is pridefulness? And I'm like, what do you want me to, and not just with her, but every friendship, I'm like, what do you want me to do? Like, and my mom says, well, my mom is like, well, you have to think about them. Stop talking about you, blah, blah, blah. So I just try to talk about them. And I try just like, what, like, and I'm just so frustrated. And then, so she said that to me, and I told her basically, reach out. If you want to go do something, reach out to me. If you reach out. And then I get that she's busy. I get that. But to me, it's like, you could be like, hey, Izzy, how are you doing? We don't have to hang out. You can just text me like, hey, Izzy, how are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm good. How are you? Good. And then we can keep it pushing. We don't have to hang out every weekend. I'm not asking for that. I'm asking, I don't know. See, that's the thing. And this is somebody new. This is somebody that's new. But I'm venting. This is on my channel. Because after tonight, I'm letting it go. I'm not texting that person no more. I'm not reaching out. So, well, I'm going to go back a little bit. So after she picked me up from the airport, and my mom was like, well, that's a friend. She picked you up and she do that. I said, okay. And mom said, you're not going to always have friends that want to reach out. You have to reach out. And I'm like, I get it. I understand. But with every friend that all the friends that I've had, not all of them, but most of them, I was always me initiating and leading the friendship. And then 3 or 4 years later, the friendship wouldn't even work out. Or if I don't reach out for a year, no, they don't reach out to me. They don't. And no, not every friendship I was asking for things. No, like I said, this is for the last 2 years. I'm just not, well, scratch it. I was getting back on my feet last year, and then I had my psychotic break. That's the reason why I was depressed again, because I was scared that if I got back up, my mind will spiral out of control again. But now I'm just taking safety precautions so that won't happen, like taking my pills and don't overwork, don't overstress, try to not overthink, don't go into therapy, doing things to take care of my mind. And this is one way I do that, like to vent on YouTube and on my channel. This is one way I get it out. Because after today, I'm going to talk about it with my therapist, but after that, I'm going to leave it alone. Or even, that's in 2 weeks. So by that point, I might not even talk about it anymore. I'm going to let it go and give it to God. But back to the point, she told me, well, I feel like you're using me in this and that and the third. And I just was like, if you want to hang out, hang out. There was a time when I asked you to hang out at the beginning of the school year. I thought we were going to hang out, but you said you had to clean your place up. So I left it alone. And I know that I bailed those 2 times. It's because I was thinking about myself. Number one, I was being selfish, and so in my feelings that I didn't consider yours. I basically said that, which was wrong with me. And I shouldn't have reached out anyways if I was just going to bail. And it wasn't because of her. It was because of me, because of what I was going through. And maybe she's going through things too. And I know she is going through things. It's not a maybe, but she said something at the meeting, and I was like, if you could reach out to that person, why not reach out to me? So I didn't tell her this after. And then, and I told her, just reach out to me, during that time I said, reach out to me. When you want to hang out, reach out to me. And reach out to me. Like, just reach out. And if you want to hang out, if you need somebody to talk, even if you want to talk about your problems, reach out. I'm here for you. I'm your friend. I got you. Just tell me. If you don't want to tell nobody, tell me. And I'll be there. And I just think that I can be the friend that you want me to if you just open up. Like, you're opening up now, telling you for you. So after that, I stopped asking her for rides. I figured out everything on my own. I figured out everything, and I learned more about the bus. That's when I learned about the bus and everything. And I don't ask her for help, but I ask other people, cause I don't have a car right now. So when it comes to rides, but I don't ask her because I know that bothers her. She says that's her love language, but, I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to be a bother. I don't want you to think that I'm using you. So I don't ask no more. But after that, I asked her about going to a football game, and then I never asked her again. She never reached out to me about it. I didn't ask her about it because of the situation that happened in the past with the whole thing. If you look at my old videos about the whole football thingy. So that's one reason that pulled me back. And then I don't like the way I look right now. So it was about me. It was about me. It wasn't about her. And she never reached out about it again. So I just thought maybe, she wasn't that interested, or maybe, she never asked about it. So I left it alone. And after that, I was waiting for her to call or text, or even, you don't have to call. You could have texted me and be like, hey girl, how you doing? Or, hey girl, I need a friend to talk to. And I would have been there. But she didn't reach out. So I just left it alone. And then I did delete her. I didn't block her. I just deleted her number. And I was like, if she reaches out to me, she reaches out to me. If she don't, she don't. She didn't reach out to me. Then I talked to my mom about it. Mom was like, well, that's a friend. That's a friend. That's a friend. That's a friend. And I'm like, okay. I'm just like, Mom, I'm just getting tired. And I'm like, I stopped asking. But even when I'm not asking, it seemed like that's the only time we actually do stuff together is when I'm asking for something. But even if I stop, if I don't reach out to hang out or anything, so my mom says, that's a friend, that's a friend, that's a friend. I said, okay. I just don't want it, because in past situations, I was always the one reaching out. And I'm not talking about asking for stuff. I'm talking about just reaching out, trying to be a friend. And I'm just waiting for people to open up and stuff. But it just never works out. And I'm just like, it might not be them. I'm the problem. And they're like, and then, other people like, no, Izzy, sometimes people choose to do certain things and it's not always about you. So I'm like, okay. And I know y'all probably going to judge me because of this video. I'm just talking about it because maybe there's people out there who experience the same thing. So we had a meeting this week. I seen her. I lied to her and told her, because that did happen to me though. I had deleted one of my emails and phone numbers from my phone deleted. That did happen. So I just used that lie. But really, I just deleted her number because she wasn't reaching out. And then we hung out. And I'm thinking we about to hang out and talk the whole night. Then she got to go to work. And I'm just like what? I think we finna talk and we finna have a girls' night and we're gonna talk and catch up. And I went to her house like 7:30. I left at like 9:30, 10. I thought we were going to stay until like 12 and we're going to just talk or something. And she didn't tell me she had to go to work, because then I would have said, hey girl, I think you should go to sleep and we can hang out a different time. And that hangout, I initiated. And then I'm like, okay. And then she told me that she's drawing and stuff. And I was thinking, I have all the supplies to draw. A lady gave me the supplies to draw like early last year. I have sketch pads. I got color pencils. I have paint. I have calendars. I have all this stuff that this lady gave me. And also, I do want to go to Full Sail for cartooning. And the man told me that, hey, practice doodling before you come down here. And I've been thinking about that. And I said, well, when she talked about it, I said, well, I should get it. In my head, I need to get into drawing too, because of X, Y, and Z, all these things that I plan on doing with my life. So I basically text her like, hey, I think I want to get into drawing. Not now because, with school and all the other stuff, but because I do want to build my cartoon book. And I told her about my cartoon book, which I plan on illustrating. And I plan on drawing that. I plan to publish that this year, but after I graduate from school, because that's my biggest goal right now, is graduating. So I basically told her that in a text message. She reads the text message and she doesn't respond. I'm just like, and you like, and see, this is not me asking. This is just me trying to be a friend, just expressing my goals. And she could have been like, oh, girl, that's great. Or she said, keep up the good work. She could have said something so simple. But she just reads it and I'm just like, okay. I'm just like, well. And then she doesn't respond to it. And then how I think about it is like this. If somebody told me something that was important to them or of concern to them, and I just read the text message, but I don't respond. I don't even say a congratulations text, or I don't heart the message. I don't do that's the thing. She could have hearted the message, or she could have did a thumbs up to the message. It could have been something so simple. And because I get that you're busy, but it could have been something so simple. Like, you could have hearted the message or said, keep up the good work. I believe in you. You got this, girl. Trust the process. Something positive. But just reading it. And see, this is the reason why I think I said in one of my previous videos, this is why I don't do friends or do other people, and this is why I do things on my own, because I don't want people to feel used. I don't want people to feel used. I don't want people to feel neglected or anything negative. That's why I did things on my own. Like, I don't like thinking about, and that's why I don't like having friends like that, because then even if it's just little things, for me, it might not happen to you. You start overthinking things, and she could really have been busy, but even if she was busy, she could have said, "Hey, girl, I'm busy." See, it's just so much stuff that could have happened, and maybe she might text me tomorrow, and all this stuff could be water under the bridge if that happens. But I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm not texting her anymore. She might see this, and we might become great friends in the future. I'm like, hey, I made this. I'm going to tell her. Or she might never find out. Well, whoever knows. But I just needed a way to get it out and to vent, And I mean, I'm not saying I was the best of friends, but I'm trying to be a better friend, not just towards her, but towards everybody. And one thing for friends, I'm not asking nobody for nothing. I'm going to go back to the old Izzy and figure it out on my own. Unless I really trust that person or I know that person for sure, I'm going to just figure it out on my own, so they won't feel used or neglected or anything. I don't care what they love language. They say they love language is. I'm going to be like, I'm going to focus on making this this friendship as easy for you as possible. So you know that I'm here to be your friend, and I'm not here for a handout. I'm here to be your friend. So that really just rubbed me the wrong way when she just read the message and she didn't say anything. I'm just like, okay. And I'm just like, so I didn't delete her number from my phone, but I deleted the text message thread. And I deleted the text message thread. And I'm not reaching out to her no longer. I'm just gonna, because this is my last semester, and I don't want to be thinking about this. This is the reason why I didn't want to really make friends or continue friendships this last semester. And the reason why I did it is because of my mom and her encouragement. But I'm not even telling my mom about it. She might read this video, and she's like, you should give things a chance. You overthink it. I'm like, look, I gotta consider my mental health right now. And if it's something that's stressing me out, even if it's something that's so small, I gotta get rid of it. But I'm getting rid of it in my way. I'm not talking about blocking or anything like that. If she reaches out to me to want to hang out, I'm going to be down for it. But as far as me reaching out anymore, I'm not reaching out no more. Because maybe the damage is already done, and maybe she thinks I'm there to be a user or something. I don't know. So I'm just going to stay to myself and focus on keeping my grades up and focus on the people who do reply back to text messages and just being better friends towards them and not asking for them for anything and just being a friend to them and trying my best to be a friend as best as I can. And just working on being a better person so I can attract better, and just being a better person, just working on myself. I just talk about it because maybe this just happened to you, and maybe I am a horrible friend. I don't know. And I gotta stop when I can't let my emotions and how I feel affect other people, or like get in the way of other people. I'm learning and just trying to be a better person. And how I didn't mention no names in this video, but if she comes out and she makes a video about it years later, will I talk about this? No, I will not. That's what I said this in other videos. Like, I talk about it now, I get off my chest now, but I'm not talking about this 3, 4, 5, 6 years later. I'm not talking about this no more. Even if that person is in my life or not in my life. If they're in my life, I'll probably discuss it with them if they see this video. But I will not talk about this because it's in the past. I discussed it, you know, and then I'm going to be a different person in 6 years or a year or even a month or 2 months or 3 months or even a day. I will not talk about this anymore. That's what I'm saying. I'm letting it go. I'm venting it. I'm telling it. Then I'm going to pray after I get done with this. I'm going to read my scripture. I'm going to pray about it to God. I'm letting it go. I might not even talk about it to my therapist because I'm just letting it go. And this video is 30 minutes long, but I'm gonna have to compress it because it's so long. But yeah, this is the end of this video, and that's what's on my mind. So for day 28, and the Super Bowl was fun and great, and that's what Miss Kathy told me. She said focus on what the positive and stop focusing on the negative. And I tend to focus on the negative and let that distract me. But I'm letting it go, and I'm not reaching out no more. I'm not reaching out. But if she reaches out to me and she want to hang out, I'm gonna hang out. Even if she just want to chill and talk in her apartment or whatever she wants to do, I'm down. I just don't want to feel like I'm always the one reaching out, or I don't want it to be one sided, because I've had that with friendships, and they don't last. They don't last when you're always the one reaching out. Like if they can go a year without texting you, not even saying, "Hey girl, how you doing?" or a hi. I'm not talking about you asking for something. I'm talking about they just checking in on you to see how you're doing mentally, physically, emotionally. Like, they can't just say hi. Or they can just call you up and tell you, girl, I had a rough day, blah, blah, blah. Or just something. And she has a life and she's busy. I get it. But it's just some things I just don't get. Like I said, you could have just hearted the message, did a thumbs up. Just something so simple. It's the simple things to me. It's the simple things, the little things. Like, we didn't have to go out to eat the first day, because we didn't have to do that. We didn't have to do that. We really didn't. I wasn't even thinking about that, but it was fun. I'm not saying I change it, and I probably would change it if I would have known that I would have changed everything. That's why I don't ask anymore. I don't ask anymore. I'm not asking for nothing, not just from her, from anybody. I'm not asking for nothing unless I know that person for a minute. I'm not asking. Even if I know that person, I'm going to try to be as little as a burden as possible. And the things that I can figure out on my own, I'm going to figure out on my own. Or I'm going to give them to God. Or just tell my mom about it. Or go to my therapist and just vent. But besides that, I'm just going to let it go and let God. But you might love or hate me at the end of this video. I'm sorry if I hurt anybody's feelings. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to get it off my chest. And maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, then tell me I'm wrong or see my perspective. But I tried to explain both perspectives. I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm not saying I'm right. And don't get that twisted. I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm just trying to understand. And maybe if we knew each other a little bit more, then maybe I would understand. And maybe I should go to her and tell her about it. But then I get scared because I don't want to lose a friend. Or a potential friend, you know. So I just stay silent, and I just watch how things play out and hope for the best. But that's what I'm doing for now. I'm just gonna let it go. I'm not reaching out no more. I'm just gonna just focus on me and being who I used to be, but better. Like my poem, the same. Oh, and I wrote a poem today. It's called Training Day. It's called Training Day. That's what it's called. The poem is called Training Day. So bye.